We're here just after lunch on day 2 of Retail Week Live, and I'm joined by Boohoo chairman Peter Williams, a retail veteran, I think it's fair to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. So you've obviously just been on our panel about how to become a non-executive director. What points do you think bear repeating from that?
Well, I think the overarching point was that actually everybody feels it's a good thing to do. I mean, you obviously need to get the permission of your company before you go and do it. But I think the sort of 3 industry panelists that we had today, all of whom are currently non-execs or have been non-execs but were execs before, feel that it was a good way to broaden their experience and learn new things.
Sure. And how did they suggest it was best to get a non-executive role?
Well, obviously, one of the routes is through the headhunters, and it's very useful if you can be introduced to the headhunters. You have to sort of probably work at those relationships because you may not know them all, and there are different sort of firms of headhunters who do non-exec appointments sometimes to exec appointments. I think then the other way is through your own network, whether it be advisors to companies and all the rest of it, and to make sure you build those up. And then the third thing that I would say is really important in this day and age is LinkedIn. Everybody does their research on LinkedIn, so make sure that you've got your profile fully explained there with all the companies you've worked for.
Perfect. And obviously you're a non-exec of several retailers. How do you choose which sort of companies to get involved with? What attracts you to them?
I personally look for 3 things. I mean, the first thing, I will only join something if I feel I can add value to it. There's no point in just making up the numbers, as it were. Secondly, usually they're consumer facing in some shape or form. I mean, they don't have to be retail, they can be media, leisure, and whatever. And third, I look at the other people on the board, because certainly if you get into difficult times, then you need a bunch of people who are not going to sort of run for the hills at the first sign of bad news, and that you can actually work through problems with.
And obviously you're Boohoo chairman as well as your non-exec director roles. Industry rhetoric seems to kind of view pure plays as untouchable at the moment. To what extent do you agree with that? What do you think keeps an e-tailer boss up at night?
I think it would be very dangerous to assume that you're untouchable. I mean, there is no doubt that there are some very successful e-tailers. I mean, there are quite a number also who are struggling or who have gone out of business. I mean, we hear about ASOS and Boohoo and 1 or 2 others. You don't necessarily hear about the ones that fail. The fantastic thing for them at the moment is that the pure plays do, if they're successful and they've got a good, strong proposition, they are able to grow both in the UK and internationally very, very quickly, and that is just fantastic.
Okay, perfect. And finally, consumer confidence has kind of come up here and again over the past 2 days, and it's looking rocky, you might say, at the moment. How do you think it would plan out in the year ahead?
I think that it is going to be difficult this year. People are still a bit nervous about what the actual impact of Brexit's going to be, and no one really knows yet. I think the economy isn't in a bad state overall, but that actually, we need to, try and engender, consumer confidence as we go through. So I think maybe this year may have a wobble in it, but hopefully once we've got past that, then everything will settle down again. It's the uncertainty, I think, more than the economic position that's actually causing the difficulties at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Peter.
Pleasure.